Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Passionately Speaking. This is our weekly masterclass where we pull back the curtains and we talk about public speaking and how we can use public speaking to grow our business and get our message out to the world and reach millions and millions of people. So tonight we are going to talk about leadership and what it is like to speak up and lead, because as a leader, that's what we need to do, is speak up. Speakers are leaders and leaders are speakers. So it's not just about speaking engagements and getting online and doing online, but the next step after you are a speaker is to actually use it to lead a movement, to right a wrong, and to stand up for a cause. So we're going to talk about lead. My acronym tonight is LEAD. So again, speak up and lead. So the L stands for leader, right? And again, it's time to use speaking to the next step, which is leadership and leading a group of people, leading your community and creating the change that you want to see. Now, a lot of you have heard my share that story about Candy Lightner. Right? Because Candy Lightner is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. If you don't know the story, I'll just give you a kind of a clip note version. And Candy was a single mom, working real estate to feed her 3 kids. And one day she comes home from work after going shopping with a girlfriend, and she sees her mom and her dad and her ex-husband on the porch of her house. And she's like thinking, what's going on? And her ex-husband comes to the window of the car, right? Puts his hands on the windowsill, looks in and says, "We lost Carrie." Well, Carrie's their 13-year-old daughter. And Candy said, well, let's go find her. She's around here somewhere. She's somewhere in the neighborhood. And the ex-husband said, no, you don't understand. She's gone. She got killed by a drunk driver. Of course, Candy, in shock, learns later that her 13-year-old daughter was walking to a church festival with a girlfriend, one of her little girlfriends, and that a drunk driver hit her so hard, didn't even see her, hit her so hard that her little body went up into the air 125 feet. And her organs weren't even fit for donating. That's how bad and hard he hit her. Now, as the story goes, he got turned in by his wife, who, as he went home, he hit and run, went home, and his wife saw him in the garage wiping off Carrie's blood from the bumper of his car. So his wife was so upset, she turned him in because it's not his first offense. It was his 4th offense for drinking and driving. I mean, I don't think at the time she realized her husband killed somebody, but regardless, she turned him in. So Candy learns of this, and Candy also learned that he only got 2 days in jail for killing her daughter. 2 days, that's it. So that made Candy what? It made Candy mad, right? Really mad. So she gets together with her girlfriends and she creates Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. That's the organization. And she created over 100 nationwide chapters. Now, how did she do that? By speaking. She started by speaking to PTA meetings and town hall meetings and school assemblies and neighborhood watch meetings, anywhere where mom and dads would gather, so that she could share her story and talk about, we need some change. We need to bring alcohol awareness. We need to change laws. And she got a bunch of people rallying with her and behind her to make a difference and change it. See, no leader is a leader without a following. As leaders, we need a following. We need numbers. We need to stand together. Right? We see what's happening now in our world and how everybody's trying to divide us and keep us home and separate us. Where what we need is leaders to bring us together and say, no more. We're not going to do that. I have a client of mine who's in the mental health hospital business. She, I forgot exactly which one, but she works at a hospital. She's a psychiatrist, psychologist. Tommy, you met her. And she's going to lose her job because she's not going to take the vaccine because it's against her religion. It's against what she believes in, right? I'm right with her, right? And so she whatever you call it, she said she's not doing it based on religious views. Well, guess what? That's not enough. And she's going to lose her job anyway. But the silver lining and how God works is this. All of a sudden, all the Christians, all the believers in that whole entire hospital came together and they band together, right? They found each other through this. And they're trying to do something even bigger than, just separately. They're trying to do something really big to overturn whatever this decision is to have them all have to lose their jobs after a year. She's been in there 40 years, right? That's the importance of leadership. So Candy creates Mothers Against Drunk Drivers with all of her friends and all of the community. And it wasn't long before she was in front of the president at that time. I don't even remember what it was. President at that time signing a law, to increase the drinking age in most states here in the United States to 21. There were several states that were still 18 at the time, and reducing the blood alcohol level. Now, because of her, because she said this is a wrong that I need to make right, because of her efforts, and it did take years, I think it took about 5 years to get this done, and because she was relentless and had a lot of tenacity, she got those laws changed. And because of her, it has been estimated that she has saved over 500 lives, right? I mean, that's a lot. That's leadership. That's what we're all capable of doing. And she did it by speaking. That's her start. She did it by speaking, by becoming persuasive. How do you think she got people to follow her? Right? She didn't just sit behind a computer and post Instagram and Facebook all day. No, she got out there in the community, in the crowds, and stood up and shared her story and her vision of what she wanted to do. Amen? And we can all do that. We can all do that. So that's the L. L is for leadership. Now, the E is for elevate. You've heard me say elevate more than once because I love that word and it's so important. When we speak as a leader or even just as a speaker, we need to make sure that we're elevating our audience, we're elevating our listeners, that they go out of the room feeling better than when we left. If they join our organization, that they feel better. If they join our cause, that they feel better for having joined it than not to have joined it, than to sit on the sidelines or to warm the bench. We need to lift up others. If we're queens and kings, we need to straighten their crown before we straighten our own crown, right? We need to elevate and make others feel better. I know Dr. Renee always does this. She's complimentary. Every time you go into a room with her, she elevates others, even though she's not speaking or even though she's not leading at the time. That's just her general practice. So elevate others. The A is for, and you've heard it before, authenticity and naked authenticity. That's right. Being real, getting down to your core values. We cannot lead if we don't tell people who we are and if we don't carry out who we are. If we're not the same in front of them leading as we are when we're sitting down following somebody else. We have to be the same. And one of the things that people say about me is that I'm the same on stage or off stage, right? On stage, I'm the same goofy person, right? Looking for my glasses, right? Having a good time, wanting you to have a good time, and yet always a strong woman of faith. You'll never find it differs. Right? Yeah. Do I make mistakes? Sure. Do I sin? Absolutely. I'm a sinner. Am I consistently sinning? I hope not. I hope I've learned from that. but I'm real, right? And I'm real, and I try to do the best that I can and serve our Lord Jesus Christ. So be who you are, be real, be nakedly authentic, always. When you're speaking, when you're not speaking, when you're leading, when you're not leading. You want to be that same person and no different. And again, we can see differences in some speakers, especially, and not to put anybody down, that's not my deal, but when we look at people on TV, when we look at actors, when we look at politicians, when we look at, fundraisers, a lot of times they're very different when you talk to them in person than when you see what they're doing on stage. And I'm saying, be authentic, be the speaker, be the person, be all in one. And the leader, be the same person on and off stage. That's how you'll get more people to follow you as a leader. And the D stands for what? Determination, right? Be deliberate, be determined, be dedicated to your cause. And just know that you hold the flag for that. And there's going to be people to help you. But if you're not going to get people's help, and I've seen leaders that have tried to lead a charge and they wanted to do it all themselves. They just said, I can do this. And they're trying to do everything themselves. And guess what happens? There's nothing for anybody else to follow, to do. So they drop off. Everybody, even your followers, all of your community must feel significant and like they're a part of something big and something huge. And they know that you are dedicated and that you will not stop until the outcome is achieved. That's what you need to do. So don't just get followers. You need dedicated followers. You need to make them feel significant. Look, I'm so excited. I'm spitting. You need to make them feel like they matter, right? That their voice matters, their story matters, their message matters, everything matters. And then they will continually follow you and help you with your cause. Don't try to do it all yourself. So be determined, be dedicated, and don't give up. Be unstoppable. And I mean, there's a charge for each and every one of you. There is a mission for each and every one of you. There's a wrong that may need right. So I don't know what it is, but we're going to go around the table now. And if you could, and again, sometimes it's just saying it out loud. Sometimes it's just saying, you know what, if I could, and we're just saying could, because I don't want you to feel like, I know we're all busy, and I don't want you to feel like you have to do something. Maybe your time has not come yet. Maybe your time just is not here, but maybe it will be. So if there was a wrong that you could make right, if there was a cause that you would fight for, what would it be? Now, if you've already done it, I want you to come up with something new. Because if you've already done it, share it with us and we will applaud you. But there's another one inside of you, right? That's not your purpose. I'm not talking about your purpose or your mission here on earth. I'm talking about a wrong that's a right, a cause that you could stand up for and lead. Again, if you could, right? So it might mean you need more time. It might mean you need some more funds. It might be a million things. So I will start. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So if I could, I would lead a charge on stopping animal abuse, especially in dogs, neglect and abuse. And I would create laws against any perpetrator that hurt an animal or left them abandoned or didn't feed them. I would just be so close, too bad that's a commandment, because I am just furious with anybody that hurts an innocent animal who cannot defend for themselves. So if I could, that's the charge I would lead. I would create fierce laws that would put abusers in jail. Yeah, there's some, but they're not fierce enough. And that's what I would do. All right, we're going to go to Janine, and I want to see some passion, sister.
If I could, I would teach the world that every single thing that we do impacts each other, and we are interconnected emotionally, psychologically, and physically, and we are never ever alone. And deeper than that, we're also connected biologically. And so illness that we suffer is a reflection of what is going on in society around us. I would love to take every person by the arm and help them realize that God gave us two arms, and that's so that we can link them together with each other, and that there is no fear when we live together.
Beautiful, beautiful. And as we're all sharing our not mission, our cause, if we could, think about, could you help that person? Could you help that person? Maybe when the time comes, maybe it's now, and maybe just the awareness, and maybe you could go, you know what, Janine, I want to help you to do that. Let's do it together. Let's co-do it together, or I'm following you, following your lead, but I'm here to support you. So be thinking as you hear these, if there's anything that just moves you that you want to take action today. All right. If you could, Dr. Love, what would your cause be?
Whoa. Hi, Arvee. Yes. One of my causes is about animals. I have, as you know, I have a lot of animals. This is one of them right here. See, this is, there you are. This is Bliss. This is Bliss. And I'm at the office right now. So I usually have the girls with me, Joy, Harmony, and Bliss. So this is Bliss. And so I also have 42 birds. I'm a huge bird lover. I have not only do I have doves and finches, but I have the giant parrots, hyacinths and cockatoos and things like that, and a lot of fish. One of my main passions is so many times people give up on animals when they get older. They put them to sleep. They give them to somebody to tie them up in the backyard. They don't bring them to the vet. They're too cheap to get their dog's teeth cleaned, or they don't know, or to get them neutered and spayed. But the teeth cleaning is a huge, huge thing, because then they get congenital heart failure because they just want to maybe groom the dog, or they're too cheap to even groom the dog or get their nails done. It's like, don't have a dog, and take care of your animals. I'm a huge advocate on just not only teeth cleaning, but animal abuse, to have no kill shelters. Now I know there are some, but there are people who just don't realize it. People who have giant birds who don't know what to do with them, so they keep them in a basement or locked up, and it's abusive. The birds pluck their feathers. My cause is called Tails and Feathers. It's going to be a 501c3, Tails and Feathers, whether it's dogs or cats with tails, or feathers, because it's our feathered friends. So I'm a huge advocate for that. Not a lot of people are aware of this, because birds, giant birds especially, live a long time, 80 years, 90 years. And they don't put money aside for them. So when they pass away, then birds are given to one family, to another, then they're abused. They're all God's animals and creatures. So in my will, I have a lot of money, a good amount of money put aside from all my birds. And so I want to share that. I'm really passionate about that. I know I've never really said anything about Tails and Feathers, but it's something I'm very deeply passionate about, that more people should be aware of that, who have animals who live longer than they do, or something like that. So, okay, Arvee, I'm complete. Thank you so much.
See, that's something you and I can partner in, because again, I don't know about the feather part, but I know about the tail part. So nice. All right, Tommy, if you could.
If I could, I would get involved in prison reform. The United States has the highest prison population of any country in the world per capita.
Ooh.
It's we incarcerate people way more than any other country in the world. The prison terms are way too long, and there is a lot of injustice in the system. a Black person or a Hispanic person or racial minorities are well overrepresented in prison. And a Black person will get 10 years for crack cocaine, and the white business executive will get a slap on the wrist for smoking cocaine. And they're the lepers of society. Thank goodness California passed a law saying felons can vote. And so change needs to happen in the system. And I would like to get involved in that.
Well, you got Sandy's attention. She's over there going, woohoo. And I don't think she heard about that felons can vote. Is that what you're trying to unmute yourself and chime in there? Sandy, go ahead.
That's for only state elections. We can't participate in federal elections. So you can get in trouble. Okay.
You might as well tell them the story. The cat is out of the bag. No tail intended.
My mission,
Oh, not your mission. Tell them your story first.
my story is the government says I have to let people know I am a federal felon. Automatically people go, ooh, I can't trust you. The crime they said is called aiding and abetting. All I did was tell somebody to go check something out. And because of that, they call it aiding and abetting. I had to serve, I fought it. I believed at one time in the judicial system, and that's a joke. The government has, I lost in the case. I still don't understand, but they said, I tell people, Grandpa Joseph in Genesis, he told his brothers, you might have meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. And I believe that because I was able to come out and I saw that, like Tommy says, the judicial system's, it's wrong. It's really slated wrong. But to tell somebody that I'm a felon, people are afraid. Many people are misdemeanors. They have misdemeanors. Do you have to advertise that to everybody? And
No.
And here's the thing, we've got to tell people felons, and then you're afraid to employ. Some of the people coming out of prison get sub jobs. So they have to look at either crime or what can they do next. So my passion is to do a TED Talk and call it, the title is Being a Felon Can Be a Bad Rap.
Right. Okay. So let's back up for a moment. So just in a nutshell, all right, without details, Sandy's aiding and abetting was accounting related. So she wasn't.
No, it wasn't even accounting related. It was, let me explain to the
All
company.
right, then explain the whole thing so they don't think you help someone rob a bank.
No, that's another story too. There's what happened, I was working as teaching the people how to do QuickBooks. And the company was doing taxes, and according to the government, they were doing it wrong. But I was teaching them how to do taxes. And now here's where Tommy comes in. When the feds came in to do a raid, I stood up and I asked to see their search warrant. Here was a group of young Hispanics I was working among. And they labeled me a troublemaker. And at my trial, they labeled and brought it out that I was a troublemaker because I asked to see their search warrant. So the prosecuting attorney came after me and said she aided and abetted. And then they took my case over to Orange County. And don't you know how many Black folks could be on my jury? Whoop.
None.
Oh, yep. And then on top of it, they put me on, there was 50 some people, I think it was, they arrested in this raid once. My trial was with this tax preparer who we probably saw, but she spoke Spanish. So our trial was at the same time. I didn't prepare taxes. I was teaching people how to do QuickBooks.
Yeah. So the good thing though, God works in mysterious ways because Sandy wasn't in there very long. She was in low security. She called it Camp Snoopy because they snooped in her business, but she taught classes And guess what else you did? You tell them what else you did.
At least over 80 pounds when I walked out. I was 80 pounds smaller than when I went in. I refused to let them kill me. One of the people that was in this case, he was in prison. He died while he was in prison. What, a half an hour later, after he had a heart attack, they were able to get him some aid. So how long does it take to get help while you're in prison? So that'll give you an idea. And I was determined not to let them kill me. So in a prison, they have the worst food. There's high carbohydrates. I'm a bariatric patient, so carbohydrates, the wrong kind, can really put weight on. I learned to walk. Believe it or not, I learned to walk there, and I walked 8 times and prayed around the campground 8 times almost every day. I have my records, my journal, and I drank the water and I was considered the protein lady. I would watch the protein and so come Thursday when they had chicken, they would have chicken and sweets. People knew they could give me their chicken and I'd give them the sweets.
Nice. All right, we have to keep going because time just scoots by.
Love you, Tommy.
Real quick, Sandy, what would your cause be? If you could, what would your cause be?
My cause would be to teach people that being a felon can be a bad rap.
Okay, that would be your cause to what? To stop?
Try to stop prejudice, and that's really hard, especially when you're Black.
Well, you know, that's a cause. That's making a wrong a right.
Yep.
Sometimes, you know, it seems hard, but you know what? I'm sure Candy Lightner thought it was very hard to change alcohol laws as well. So
Yeah, but you know, it's just perception.
nothing worth changing is easy.
No.
All right, let's go to CJ.
Well, I don't know if my cause is as important as the other causes you guys are talking about. Can I make it a business cause that I'm passionate about?
Hey, this is not a comparison. It's not a race. It's not a contest.
Certainly.
If you could, what would you do?
If I could, I would make people understand that the importance of their website. Because once again, your website is the only thing you can fully own and control on the internet. And how many people are putting all their time attention into Facebook? And did everyone see what happened yesterday?
No.
Facebook was gone. They were almost wiped off the map. And that impacted a lot of people. And those that had their own website and have their own email list were immediately reaching out to people through email and these other ways saying, hey, we're still here. We can still contact you. You can still contact us. And we don't have to go through Facebook.
Okay, is that a wrong that you're making right, though?
It is a wrong that people are being told to invest their time and their business time, energy, money into something that they can't control or own.
Got it. Got it. And I understand Instagram, of course, was down too, and so was WhatsApp app,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now,
Correct.
some people are saying that that's a test of what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of you are looking at the tabloids, underground tabloids, not the mainstream, but be ready, right?
Yes.
God is coming. Jesus is coming. Be
Yes.
ready. Don't let him catch you, you know, whatever, in the wrong place.
So my message is it is okay to use these platforms to reach more people, but it's not okay to invest all your time and energy and money into a platform that you can't control and could evaporate tomorrow.
Got it. Very well said. All right. Now, I just have to say, hello, Benita. You are late, but you look very creepy right now because you're like a head floating amongst curtains, right? I mean, look at it. It's like complete, it's a head. You're scaring me. We'll call on you in a little bit, but it's scary. Don't look, don't look. Okay. All right. Ardina. God, that's so scary. I know it's Halloween, right? It's a ventriloquist. She's the puppet. All right. Oh, now there, she moved. All right, Ardina, you're up.
I have actually two, but one tied to my business, but one that's really been on my heart for years.
What is it?
If I could and could you lead me into that?
Yeah,
Arvee?
if I could.
Okay. It would be to change the homeless situation. That is just, I mean, even just yesterday, I was driving by and I just think that it's so political for so many people to be on the street, especially women and children. That's dear to my heart. So if I could change that situation, be a part of the change, that's dear to my heart.
I so agree. Last week, there was a guy and a girl, kind of young, homeless, obviously, by their hair, with a little puppy, German Shepherd puppy. And they were kind of dragging this puppy. Now, you know how I feel about dogs. And so I ran out there and I'm like, the puppy needs to rest. It's a puppy. It needs to rest. And they're like giving me some, oh, well, this or that. We just went and got it. We're looking for a basket. We're looking for a basket for it to sleep in or something. I ran into the house. I didn't have a basket, but I got some food, I got them some food and ran back out to them. I wished I got more, and gave it to him, said, look, if this is for the puppy, some bones and stuff. And I just prayed and cried, oh God, Lord, please let them take care of that puppy because they can't even take care of themselves. And to have a puppy, it just, it's just like, they shouldn't be allowed, to have a puppy.
So what's the point?
They did name it. They named the puppy. I forgot what it was, but they did something that was kind of clever, but I just felt really bad for them, for the puppy. But I hear you, Ardina. I'd love to end that as well. Excellent.
Amen.
Amen. All right, Luana, if you could.
I was sitting here trying to think what caused. I haven't been paying attention to the news. I honestly, I don't have a cause. If it would be anything, would be to just try to get people to invest in reading.
Okay.
I absolutely love reading. You can go anywhere, just reading, and that's what my grandfather instilled in me. I still read today, and when I see people who say, "Oh, I don't have time," that always bothers me because they don't know what they're missing.
Well, you can, help to end literacy, right? There is an organization, I don't even know if it's around anymore, but years ago, 20 years ago, I used to ride a motorcycle. That's something people don't know about me. And I would go, it wasn't a Harley. It was hardly a Harley, I call it. It was a little Honda Rebel, but I would go into what was it called? What's it called, CJ? The Love Ride, where all the guys, have Harleys. So myself and a girlfriend, we would go in there and, we would raise money for, their cause, which was literacy for kids. So even, big bad organizations like that can do something good. And, pretty great experience in raising money for them. So again, if you can't do it yourself, you can always join somebody else who's doing it. But there's lots of causes, ladies and gentlemen. What about bullying? What about human trafficking? There's so many wrongs. What about just abuse in the home? What about, domestic violence? There's so much sin in this world, that we can help stop or bring awareness to. That's all Candy did. She didn't stop the drunk driving. She brought awareness and got stiffer laws so that would stop it or curb it, right? All right, let's go to Alice, if you could.
If I could, I'll join everyone here with their causes because I hate animal abuse. I just think animals should be loved just like family. And as far as the prison goes, I'll work on reducing slave labor because that's really fostering the prison industry. They have to catch people and put them in prison for minor offenses, because a lot of the things we use, McDonald's, Walmart, AT&T, a lot of those corporations depend on that cheap 25 cents an hour labor. So we have to work on that from that level, which is eliminating the big business of and slavery of the justice system, which is like no other one in the world.
So Alice, are you telling me that that people in prisons are making things for these corporations and companies like assembly lines? They're working?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Uniqlo, they're companies, Uniqlo,
Wow.
Yes.
Army uniforms, the number plates on your vehicles. They are working hard in there, and it's a new form of slavery that we somehow cannot eliminate.
Wow.
Wages for prisoners start at 8 cents an hour, and $1.25 is maybe a top.
Top, yeah.
50 is top wage. Yeah, they make all the license plates. They make all the office furniture for the state of California for all government offices.
Wow.
Yeah, and then they're charged when they go to court these huge restitution
In
fees.
amounts, yeah.
And so they're making their 10 cents an hour, 20 cents an hour, and then the state will take 55% of that for their restitution fees.
Wow.
And then they
Yeah,
come out and they can't get hired. So what they have to do, they go back to a life of crime, and it becomes this revolving door.
Wow.
So
Oh.
the system is feeding itself.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything much, you know. And they have these stops, like in my neighborhood, in the middle of the night, where they see young men are driving. The police, they have stop posts, and maybe a tree hanging in front of a stop sign, so somebody in the rain would not see it. It happens to be a young man, and they would say they see drugs or they see something or in the car. And that's because their mission is to bring in more people. So it's a vicious cycle.
Work.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Alice, that has to be stopped.
Well, may I say,
That
When
has to be stopped.
when I was orientation going into prison, we had to go and meet the big guy. And so when they told me that had to get a job while we're there, and my job, I wanted to be one of the educators. It was 10 cents for the course that I taught. And I did prep work beforehand, which you didn't count, and then the class. They still owe me, I think, about $2 or $3, but they haven't paid it. And then on top of that, when I told them, I said, "Oh, slavery," and that's exactly what I said. "Oh, we're on plantation." They went and told all of the officers that I'm a troublemaker.
You're a troublemaker again.
I was a troublemaker, went in for calling it. And so when I was leaving, the officer comes saying, the guy that did my orientation, he comes to me and he says, "I remember you." He says, "You're the one that said this is a slave camp." I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "What's not? We take care of you." And I said, "Really? 300 people in a warehouse, you're taking care of us?" "Well, we provide food and clothing." I said, "Yeah, really?" And so the medical's only there like 2 times a week for 300 to 600 people, women. So you can imagine how much care we got.
Not a lot. Well,
Yeah. No, in fact, I was there when the lady that's the dance mom, she was one of my students. And so you see, when she got out, she had cancer, and not that it was the cause, but they might have been able to catch it sooner when she was in there.
Maybe.
Yeah, and so that gives you the idea. But anyhow, the guy that's did the orientation, he said, well, he didn't like the idea of being a slave owner. I said, well, then how about a pimp?
He said, oh, I like that one much better.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Sandy, I need to move on, but
I know.
I know we could talk about your experience all day, and we have,
That's,
but I need to move on. Let's go to Evelyn. If you could, what would you change? You're muted. You know what I would change? The minute someone starts talking, automatic unmute on Zoom. You're muted, honey. I wish
know. Okay.
people, but we can't.
It helped divorced homeless women and girls by teaching them organizing skills so they could manage their lives to reduce their stress and give them the resources to improve the quality of their life. You know, be their cheerleader.
Uh-huh. That sounds like good stuff. All right. Thank you, Evelyn. All right. Jean from Iowa. Jean, you're not home. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm in my living room.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now I see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
I have to share. Here's my Arvee notebook of
Woo,
notes.
look at how thick that is. Awesome.
And Evelyn gave me the idea of just taking my notes in the notebook instead of loose notebook paper, and then I get those pages lost all over the place and have to file them. Just do one action. So
Good idea.
Evelyn. Hey, can I just real quick ask you to run through the EAD? I had to step away.
What? Oh, the EAD. I'm like, what's EAD? The E is for, well, no, I'm going to ask everybody. All right. So everybody, you say it out loud. The E is for
Elevate.
elevate. The A is for,
Authenticity.
Authenticity,
the D is for,
determination.
right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, CJ. Yeah, Jim came up to me and he had these big bumps on his forehead and he'd just gotten back from his bike ride. And I thought, oh no, he fell off his bike again. And no, what happened was a bee flew in his helmet and it started stinging him all over the head. So we had to go doctor him up real quick.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to get real serious here about my cause.
Okay.
I would like to educate young women entering the workforce to identify the pattern of a sexual predator and harasser and help them not lose their voice, but just be able to have boundaries, to identify and to grow from an experience if they've been offended.
Ooh, good one. Thank you, Jean.
Yep.
All right. Deidre Miller, you're up. If you could.
If I could, mine's kind of related to a couple of the others. I was thinking about wild animals and protecting them and making sure that they don't go extinct and, help preserve their territory so they can live the lives that they want to live. I've been reading about Custer and Crazy Horse and about how the Americans, spread out all over the West and just willy-nilly killed the buffalo, and fortunately somebody stopped them in time so they have been able to come back. But so I think that's really important. If you lose, any kind of species of animal, it's gone forever. So that's something that I'm compassionate about.
If you could choose one wild animal, because there's a lot of them and there's mammals and, which one would it be? Most of the causes protect like the lions or the tigers or the bears.
I would say elephants because they are.
The elephant?
Yeah, because they're very intelligent and amazingly compassionate with each other, with their babies and stuff. And they mourn when one of them dies, you can tell. So I think elephants are amazing creatures.
Yeah, and they are poached for their, their
Yes.
horns all the time.
You know, and that's illegal now, but people do it anyway. So,
They do it anyway. There's poachers that
Yep.
they're trying to make a living and they don't understand.
yeah.
know, they just don't understand. They don't get it. We need to stop them by training those people and taking maybe their little kid and saying, look at what you're doing to this elephant is just like taking an arm off your little kid.
Well, I don't think they really care, but I think you
I
have
don't
to.
think they're educated.
Talking about jail, but I think they belong in jail. So people that do that. So
Amen. Okay, but a lot of them, they don't have that education that we have to know better.
yeah.
They're trying to survive. I'm not sticking up for them. I'm just saying we need to start with education for them.
Yeah, so we need to find them some other way to make a living.
There you go. Have them be a farmer or something. I agree. Yeah, got it.
Well, farming takes away all the habitat for the animals too. So you have issues with that too.
Well, maybe there's a way they can live in harmony.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you figure that out, Deidre.
Yeah.
Cause, yeah. All right, Jackie, if you could.
I would do teen suicide. Oops, sorry.
Now we can't hear you. You need to turn off your phone, but you can talk through your computer.
Jackie, why don't you go ahead and just disconnect from your computer and just use your phone. And then we won't get the echo.
Yeah, that was kind of like creepy, like
There you go.
psycho or something.
There you go.
Jackie, now.
I would do something to never have technology issues. No, just kidding. Teen suicide. I would found an organization to help teens to understand their own value and what wonderful people they are and how much they matter to everyone, including the Lord. I get really upset when I see these kids who don't believe that they have any value, so they end their lives. So teen suicide prevention.
Beautiful. Love that. All right. Virginia, real quick, what would you do if you could?
Hi. Okay, several things. So
just one.
I'll just tell you what they are real quick. The rainforest, saving the rainforest, the polar bears, poaching elephants, and world hunger. I have two foundations that I donate to every month. Both of them are in Africa. So yeah.
I think you and Deidre need to get together and start something to save the elephants.
The elephants, yes, I would love to. I have a very special spot in my heart for the elephants.
Yeah, you two get together. I think that is something. Okay, let's go to Benita, the floating head. That is just so creepy. You are muted, my dear. Wait, are you talking or are you not really talking?
I wasn't, but hey, talking head for the virtual world, right?
There you go.
The ghostly talking head. One that hasn't been mentioned that my face is discolored there. One that hasn't been mentioned is health freedom. Being able to make choices in things like around your body or vaccines, all kinds of things. And that may not be a popular one, but that's one.
No, we got to stick up for our rights. If we lose rights for things like this, ladies and gentlemen, don't you see what's coming? We're going to lose our speaker right. We're going to lose our voice right. Do you get it? They just chip away and take away a little bit of our rights before sooner or later we have no right of speech. You got it? Because they know that it's our speech that makes us leaders, that we step up and we can change things. Do they meaning whoever they are, want us to change things? Quickly, they can get rid of our voice. So practice speaking. Go ahead, Benita. I think you're on to something.
Yeah, no, that health freedom and the censorship and all that. It concerns me that
Bye, Jean. If you have to go, bye-bye, honey.
That people let authority trump their own critical thinking skills and their own intuition. But
Yeah. Well, you all have great causes. It's right at 5 o'clock. 5:02 is what I have. So give yourselves a big hand for the cause, the right that you're going to, the wrong that you're going to make right. And I want you to think about this and process it overnight and pray about it and pay attention to who is connected, because I see like even Alice has a bird. Alice can connect to, I guess Renee just dropped off, but there's so many connections, and Virginia and who else was the elephant lover? See, you moved and now I got all messed up. Deidre, right? He exit out and all my tiles have changed. So I'm like, where? But anyway, think of how you can join together and just have a conversation and change. And there's a couple of you want to do business things. And, it's not easy, but I'll tell you, first it starts with the idea. And remember, thoughts are things. And then when we speak them, they become reality. So if you really want to do that cause, all you have to do is start speaking it and get other people to rally, around it. And then together, you could change the world. All right. So that's our talk for today and our lesson. Again, speak up and lead. You're all leaders and we need great leaders today. So before we end, does anybody have any questions or anything they want to add before we end our training today?
I want to join Bonita's cause.
Okay. All right, there you have it.
I just want to ask real quick, who was it that said that wants to help the elephants?
Deidre.
Deidre, okay.
So you two, again, band together.
Yeah, I saw
put
your
my-
message, Virginia.
Yeah, just send me a text.
Okay.
All right.
Won't be right away, but I will do that.
All right.
That's okay.
Yeah, reach out to each other. Remember, you can always find each other in the Passionately Speaking Facebook group, as long as Facebook is open. But now we know we can't even depend on that. I didn't miss it yesterday because I don't go on during the day. I usually wait till the evening anyway. So I didn't, my assistant told me, oh, I can't post. I can only do Twitter and LinkedIn. I'm like, okay, no big deal. But I bet there's a lot of other people that were like, right? Because their business is dependent on it and they do a lot of lives or training. So interesting. But I love what CJ said about, again, the website is the only thing you truly have control over. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you back here next week. All right. So now remember, it's a good time to go and get speaking engagements. Did you have something, Dr. Luana, or was you just saying goodbye? Okay, now is a good time to get out there and get speaking engagements because people are booking for next year. All right, so start making those phone calls. And remember, when you get out there to speak, to always speak with passion. Mwah. Bye, everyone. Thank you, CJ.
You're welcome. Good night.
Good night. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.